telling a short story and a short film is really no different from any other storytelling that you're doing. You have to have a good beginning, middle, and end. You have to have conflict. You have to have resolution. The conflict has to come to a climax usually before it's resolved. And so we've kind of incorporated all of those elements into that. On this particular film, we're actually using exposition at the beginning and the end of the film, which is a trick that some filmmakers do to get across a lot of information in a very short period of time on a film. But for this particular film, we came up with the idea. It was actually, I know this teenage girl who has a horse, and she had told me the story about this guy that was at this barn that she goes riding at sometimes, and he was really cute, and she kind of was afraid to kind of talk to her. So we kind of took that, and since our director is a horse person to begin with and a teenage girl, it kind of all fits. So it goes back to the old saying of, you know, write something that you're involved with or that you know.
You know, when you're working on set with any sort of actor, you want someone who is going to be fun and have a great personality, and both Megan and Tyler did have that. They were asked to do many takes sometimes, and they were just really funny and lighthearted about it, and it made the process like very easy.
I'm so sorry, I didn't see you. Are you okay?
She was face to face with me, knocked me over, and I still didn't have the guts to introduce myself.
Out here, and auditions are kind of being delayed and slowed down because of this silly parade, Christmas parade. So just wanted to give you an update.
Here it is, a story as old as time itself, the promise of young love.
You're such a wet blanket. This is a sweet story unfolding right before your eyes.
Mr. Rick Davis, who plays the part of Gus, the barn manager, is actually my old horse trainer who trained me on shotgun when I was younger. And he's just got an amazing personality. He's so funny, and he's got like that southern drawl and just the personality for it. He's been like a barn manager all his life. And so I asked him if he would appear in my movie, and he said yeah, he would totally do it.
Oh, actually, I'd played part, loved to play the parts. It was enjoyable, a lot of fun. Oh yeah, I'd do it all the time. If Randy called me again, I'd say yeah, I'd be there.
Prop wrangling for this film was pretty minimal since we were shooting mostly outdoors. One of the most iconic props was the old antique GMC truck that you see in the opening sequence of the film. We also spent an afternoon shopping for Western wear for the character of Blake, picking out boots and a hat.
Handfuls of mud. Water, shaping it into a ball, adding a little hay effect, grain, horse poop.
One of my jobs is to make sure that the production day goes smoothly, and we knew one of the most challenging aspects of the film was the chase sequence, so we decided to schedule a rehearsal. And that way the actors could go through the pace and positioning of the sequence, which gave them the confidence on production day. Production comprised 2 8-hour days of principal photography at 3 different locations. The first day we shot the chase sequence and the ending of the film, and then on the second day we trailered the horses down to a stable and shot the bulk of the film there.
My My goal in doing indie films is to make sure that everybody has fun doing it. I've worked on a tremendous amount of films. Just having this discussion this weekend with a friend of mine who did 3 16-hour back-to-back days on a film, and it was miserable. This film was really different from that. We really planned the film out. We shot for a couple of days. We didn't stress people out. We were done in 8 to 10 hours on each day. We fed the crew. We took care of them, and everybody really had a great time. I mean, you could see it on the set, and you could see it after we finished wrapped. Everybody kind of hung out and talked, and so it was a really pleasant experience. And it's not always that way when you're doing low budget, micro budget indie films. Sometimes it can be very long and very tedious.
The most exciting part was, being a part of the movie, but trying to remember the parts was probably the most challenging part of it. And just knowing where to be at the right place, right time, timing and everything, which way to look, how to act. And basically how I did it, I was just being natural, actually. Just something part of my life was that,
I would have to say the most challenging thing about this role was having to do, during the many retakes, having to stay in character and keep your vibrance alive after you've done many retakes, because you tend to get all oh, we're doing it again. You start to tone down, but you have to keep going back and doing it just as crazy as before.
In the weeks following production, we still had several days of pickups, B-roll, collecting sound effects, and even some aerial imagery, which you will see in the opening part of the film. Putting a movie together is like putting together the pieces of a puzzle. In the post-production phase, the film moved through 3 different phases. First, there was editing, where we put all the clips together and set the pacing. That took about 40 hours of work. Then there was the color grading, and we were going to outsource that, but Michaela ended up doing that herself in about 2 days. And then lastly, there was the sound engineering, which is really interesting, how you can put together an audio story to go together with the visual story. And we were really fortunate to have High Five Sound out of Orlando do that sound engineering process for us.
So there's a little fly in one of these shots, and we are getting the fly sound effect just right. I really want Horse Sense to be a movie that the whole family can enjoy, and one that has an uplifting and positive message for anyone that watches it. It's really about relationships and the positive side of relationships just starting out, and just how relationships shouldn't be taken so seriously, and you laugh at yourself and everything, and everyone's kind of been through it. And I really feel that romance doesn't have to be explicit to show love and be entertaining. And so that's kind of the approach that I've brought to filming and writing this movie.
It's a wrap!